After over a decade of production hell, we finally have a new Crow movie. I've seen it. We're going to review it. Anyway, let's do this. The Crow stars Bill Skarsgard, FKA Twigs, Danny Houston, and is directed by Rupert Sanders.
Until you put the wrong things right.
What's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new 2024 review. We're going to review The Crow. I thought I would never say that again. It's been over a decade, probably more, that they've been trying to get this movie off the ground. We went through countless potential actors that always fell through, which, I mean, you could do a ranking of if this actor did the movie, you know, who would be the best. So, yeah, but we finally landed on Bill Skarsgard, who I think is a fine choice. You know, he definitely has the look. When they released that image of him, you know, the first official image, it created a lot of controversy. There were a lot of comparisons to Jared Leto's Joker. And I can definitely see that. But, you know, I went into this movie expecting the worst. But I definitely... I had an agenda for myself to try as hard as I can to just separate the original, because the original is my all-time favorite movie, tied with Halloween. All right? I know I'm Dwight Schrute this shit, but yeah, The Crow means everything to me. If you check out my review for the first Crow movie that I did like 9 years ago, I poured a lot of my heart and soul into that review. And so it was weird seeing a Crow movie in the theater. Keep in mind, guys, this is the first time a Crow movie has been released nationwide in 28 years. 1996, The Crow City of Angels was the last nationwide movie released in theaters. I think there was a very limited run for the sequels after that. But yeah, so we're finally here, and it's pretty crazy. And this definitely has some high production value. It's bigger in scale than all of the other sequels. It feels big budget for sure. Rupert Sanders, he's a visionary behind the camera. I definitely have to give him that. So let's start off with a quick plot synopsis. If you know the story of The Crow, it's about Eric Draven, Shelley Webster, and they are killed, and then Eric is brought back to life to avenge her death. And that is pretty much the plot of this movie too. But outside of that plot, it is told in a very different way in almost every facet than the original movie. And you can tell intentionally. And I think by doing that, I think that's the ultimate way to show respect to the original movie, is to completely not touch what Alex Proyas did. Still, you got to make a good movie, right? You still got to make a good movie. I don't think this movie's perfect by any means, okay? But it is enjoyable, to my surprise. It does have some depth, especially in terms of the relationship between Eric and Shelley in this, which surprised me, because from the trailers, it looked very superficial. So it definitely has its problems, all right? So I guess let's start off with the pros about this movie. This movie definitely has a lot of both. The pros is that I like that they changed the story around, took some liberties. This is spoiler free, so I'm not going to tell you how far they went as far as, like, you know, digging deep into like spoiler territory. And there is a major spoiler as far as the villains go. You find it out pretty early on in the movie, like how they work, their motivations, all that stuff. I really loved Bill Skarsgard's performance in this. He gave it his all. You could tell that he really cares about this character, like he's a big fan of the character. And, you know, he came prepared, I think, for this role. There's not a single line delivered, I think, poorly by him, which is definitely saying something, because The Crow, a lot of these sequels, there's some shaky acting through this. And there is a couple of moments in this movie that are shaky in terms of the acting. FKA Twigs really surprised me, though. I thought she was really great as Shelley. This movie focuses more on how they came together, and it's important to try to build that chemistry between the two of them. And, you know, in the original, it wasn't about that. It was just, let's start off putting on the makeup, guns blazing, and he's that character the whole way through. This one, they chose a different route here. Let's don't depend on putting the makeup on right away. Let's try to build the chemistry between Eric and Shelley and make you like them. And I think they do a pretty good job at that, actually. But I think FKA Twigs is very talented. Great singer, and she's not a bad actress at all. I think some of the dialogue is a little thin. They could have went deeper. But on the flip side of that, I do think there's definitely some fat in this story that could have been cut. It could have been tightened up. I think there could have been a better edit of this movie. I don't want to say it's boring, because it's not. I was fully invested in what was going on, but it does take a while to get to the meat and potatoes of the story for him to fully be the Crow. He becomes the Crow, I think in the middle part of the movie, but he fully becomes the Crow at another time. There's also some good music in this movie, and that really surprised me because they weren't promoting anything with the soundtrack. And The Crow is definitely known for great music, especially the first 3 movies. This definitely has some really good music, and I think I want to buy the soundtrack when it comes out. A couple of memorable tracks. You got a Joy Division track in here, and there's another song that sounds very similar to Joy Division. So that was a nice surprise. Great action. I mean, this movie gets really bloody in the last act. They do not hold back whatsoever, And once he fully dons the makeup and everything, I think he looks pretty badass. And I think context is everything. And when you see everything play out, because that trailer's a bad trailer. I don't think that trailer's a really good trailer at all. Again, in the context, the way this thing plays out, I actually quite enjoyed it. Jumping into the cons, I think the villains are pretty weak here, and when you compare them to the first movie, they don't really hold a candle, especially the Top Dollar. Danny Houston, he definitely had some big shoes to fill with Michael Wincott. He's not even Top Dollar in this movie. There is an interesting aspect about him, though, which I will not go into in this review. Definitely check out the spoiler review. That's going to come out in a couple days. Because there's a lot in terms of spoilers that I can discuss in this movie that I haven't told you. But I do like how they deal with Eric as far as finding out that he is immortal, because he doesn't realize that at first. And so you're going to have some moments where it gets really bloody and he doesn't realize that, he's thinking, I'm dead, but oh shit, I'm not. And the visual effects as far as like watching him heal, I thought were done pretty well. So I know I'm all over the place going back and forth with pros and cons, but I'm kind of doing a stream of consciousness thing here. And I don't want to leave anything out in terms of being spoiler free, because I want you guys to really get my full opinions about this movie, good and bad. It definitely has its problems in the pacing department, but I think overall it's an enjoyable film. And I'm curious what it's going to look like a few watches down the line. How's it going to settle in a few years, especially up against the rest of the Crow movies. I mean, I can tell you right now, The Crow is not a good franchise at all. The first movie's fantastic. The second movie's got a cult following. But I think this movie, it holds up pretty well, and it's far better than, 3 and 4. Even though I do have a soft spot for 3, so, for some of the things. I'm a Crow fan, right? So, yeah, anyway, that's all I'm going to give you for the spoiler-free review. I'm going to give this a high humdrum right now, which I'm surprised. And there are going to be some people that are not going to like this movie at all. I can see that right now. I think it's going to be divisive or on the low end as far as ratings go. But I think there's some people that are going to like this movie as well. So, yeah. So, anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think when you watch it. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Really looking forward to seeing the comment section on this. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free for Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums and on my socials. Support me on Patreon. Buy me a coffee. Become a channel member. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and it can't rain all the time.